Hello, I'm Rex Basterfield, and this is a demo of my Quilcom section. Now, the idea behind the Quilcom section is to create an ensemble or section of instruments which all sound broadly very similar, but with slight variations between them. Unlike the usual chorus effects and unison detuning, the Quilcom section at its heart has this section oscillators here, and they provide something which I refer to as partial phase scrambling or randomization. This technique means that you don't get the usual sort of phasey flanginess that you get with the chorus and the unison detune that I've mentioned. To demonstrate this, I've chosen this preset which is called a super saw, and you've got all 9 oscillators with a sawtooth wave which is detuned, and you get this classic sound. Now if I change over to the randomized phases, you get this. So now you have a choice of ensemble type effects within the one synthesizer. So you could say that the phase scrambling or random phases produces entirely different waveforms, as you can see in these 9 displays here. This means that the interaction between them, the beating and the constructive and destructive interference is reduced to a minimum to give what I think is quite a nice effect with a certain spatial quality too. So now I'll give a quick run over the what we have here on the front panel, and as I always say, if you want the details, read the manual, because there's the included user guide, because there's a lot of extra information there. You can choose your bass waveform from lots that I've built in to give you a good wide range of sound, or if you switch over to inbuilt waveforms, you can load any single cycle wave you wish, and the phase will be randomized for you. Each oscillator has a formant system with up to 3 different peaking filters, with a lot of control over what you can do with those formant filters. This little panel here does panning for each of the 9 oscillators, and you can also go down or up one octave or turn that particular oscillator off. You can set default panning here. Now, in order to create nice variations between the individual oscillators or players, you have a number of random variations that you control. Detuning is the obvious one. You can vary the attack time, the gate on and off time for timing. The formants here, the resonance level can be varied, and you can introduce a digital noise which actually adds all the partials have a slight addition to their magnitude. And down here there's a filter bank which I'll just tell you about in a moment, and we can also make the resonance and the frequency of that filter bank randomized. So as I mentioned, this is a filter bank, 1 state variable filter per oscillator. We can track the pitch, we can relate velocity to pitch, we can control the pitch via the envelope, we can set the resonance or relate the resonance to the velocity, and we can spread the center frequencies over a range to give a more varied sound between the individual players. Finally, here we can mix in the dry sound with the filtered sound. This is the usual option of filter type, slope, and we can turn all the filters off, so we don't use any CPU if we don't need them. I should mention at this point that the Quilcom section does use quite a lot of CPU, especially if you have the Foreman filters and the filter bank running at the same time. But don't forget, you've effectively got 9 synthesizers running in parallel per note played, so it's hardly surprising the CPU does climb a little bit. The volume envelope controls all 9 channels, all 9 players. ADSR, the velocity can affect the attack time, so if you have a longer attack time set and press a higher velocity, the attack time will reduce, and you can also do the same velocity to amplitude coupling there. I found it useful when I was developing this thing to be able to set the lower part of the keyboard with different filtration characteristics and different level to the upper part of the keyboard. So these two filters and level controls achieve that. We can set a split point we want, we can overlap them, or even create a dead band in the middle of the keyboard if you wish. The filters can be turned on and off here. If you want to pack the sound out a little bit more, we have a sub oscillator here, and this feeds into the center panned channel there, so you can apply the Foreman or filter bank effects to the sub oscillator. Down here we have the cross delays, which is a matrix of 6 delays where we can set the delay time and the overall width of the signal. If we want the delays turned on, we do that there. The purpose of this is to create the sort of ambient sound that you might want, and to thicken up the apparent density of the players, the instruments. The reverb is the M-Verb 7B, which is a wonderful sounding reverb created by Martin Wegeneck. And then we have the recorder here. Now, I was asked some time ago by a fan if I could always include a recorder, because it means that you can set a sound that you like, make a recording of it, and then save it as a WAV file if you want to play it in a sampler, which of course will use a lot less CPU. So now I'll demonstrate some of the presets you've got here. This first one here shows you the effective velocity to attack and velocity to volume. So if I play the key softly, or harder, I get a more expressive sound. This key split system here means we can have a different sound for the drones on the left hand and the chanter on the right hand. How about a sax section? Heraldic trumpets. You can make all sorts of vocal type sounds too. You can make woodwind type sounds too. Since we have the option of going up or down an octave on all the oscillators, and with the waveform randomization and so on, we can make quite a big organ sound. When we choose an appropriate waveform and other settings, we can make some quite nice bell sounds. This string equalizer preset makes use of the keyboard split for the filters. So on the left side you get a sort of vocal sound, on the right hand a sort of string sound. Of course, being a synthesizer, you can do lots of classic sounding things with it. On this next one, you can hear the effect of having randomized gate on and gate off times. How about a section of accordions? This is what we get here if we randomize the phase of a single partial, a sine wave, and when you play that it sounds quite interesting. This system of having multiple oscillators lends itself quite well to making nice sort of piano sounds. Using the delayed LFO, we can do some weird and silly things. Should you want to. So there you go, that's the Quilcom section, and I hope that demo has maybe inspired you to have a go and possibly do something creative with it. I'm going to play you out with what I think is quite a nice string section sound. So until the next time, bye!